Most people think they know what touching is. You reach out. Your finger meets a table. You feel a solid surface. It feels simple. It feels obvious. You touched the table. End of story. We move on. We never question it again. Touch seems like the most direct way to meet the world. Eyes can fool you. Sounds can echo. Smells drift. But touch feels honest. Touch feels certain. When a child asks how we know something is real, we often say, because you can touch it. That answer feels strong. It feels safe. But imagine this. You place your hand on a wall. Pause for a moment. What is actually happening there? Your skin does not slide into the wall. The wall does not melt into your hand. There is no mixing, no blending, just a firm stop. Why is that? What is pushing back? What is really doing the touching? Think about it slowly. Your hand is made of tiny parts, too small to see. The wall is also made of tiny parts, too small to see. When your hand moves closer, those tiny parts come close to the tiny parts in the wall, very close. Yet they never truly meet. They stop before that point. Something invisible says no further. This sounds strange, but you never feel the wall itself. You feel a response. You feel a push. You feel resistance. The feeling you call touch is not a meeting. It is more like a conversation, a quiet exchange of signals. Your brain hears those signals and tells a simple story. The story says, I am touching a wall. Now here's the part most people miss. If touch were real in the way we imagine, things would merge. Your finger would blend into the table. The world would be soft and messy, but it is not. Everything keeps its shape. Everything keeps its space. That alone should make us pause. Think about sitting on a chair. You trust it. You relax. You let your weight rest. But why does the chair hold you up? Why do you not fall through it? It is not because the chair is solid in the way a rock looks solid. It is because of tiny forces you cannot see. Forces that act before contact. Forces that push back without touching. Even the word touch hides the truth. It suggests closeness. It suggests contact. But what if there is always a gap? What if that gap is never crossed? What if all your life you have lived slightly away from everything else? Imagine two magnets. Bring them close. They push away. You feel a force. You feel resistance. But the magnets never meet. Your hand feels the same kind of push from the wall. It just feels smoother, more quiet, more steady. So steady that you stop noticing it. When you press harder, the feeling grows stronger. You think you are pushing deeper, but you are not entering anything. You are meeting more resistance. The wall pushes back more firmly. Your skin bends. Your nerves fire. Your brain reacts. The story of touch grows louder. This belief runs deep. It shapes how we think about the world. We imagine ourselves moving through space and touching things along the way. We imagine a clear line between us and everything else. But that line may not be what we think it is. Consider a simple question. Have you ever felt the inside of an object? Not the surface. The inside. You cannot. You only ever meet surfaces, boundaries, responses. The world presents itself as a series of polite refusals. You may come this close, no closer. Your whole life is built on this gentle distance. Walking, sitting, holding a cup, hugging a friend. All of it feels intimate. All of it feels direct. Yet none of it involves true contact in the way your mind imagines. This is not meant to be unsettling. It is meant to be curious. Reality is not broken. It is simply different from the picture we carry in our heads. The picture is simple because it helps us survive. But simple pictures can hide deep ideas. Think about air. You cannot see it, but you feel it on your skin when the wind blows. That feeling is also resistance. Tiny pushes, signals reaching your nerves. Touch works the same way, just closer, much closer. If this is true, then touch is not about meeting matter. It is about sensing forces. Your body is a translator. It turns invisible interactions into feelings you can understand. Hard, soft, warm, cold. These are not properties of objects alone. They are conversations between you and the world. So when you say you touched something today, what did you really experience? A meeting or a message? A connection or a boundary? Think about the last object you held. A phone, a spoon, a door handle. You trusted your senses. You felt sure of the moment. Yet that certainty came from your mind filling gaps. It smoothed tiny events into one clear feeling. Your brain is good at that. It hides strange parts so you can live calmly. But sometimes it helps to lift the cover, to peek underneath the simple story. Not to feel lost, but to feel wonder. Because if even touch is an illusion in this gentle way, then other things we trust may also be stories shaped for comfort. This quiet space between you and everything else is doing a lot of work. And once you notice it, you may start seeing it everywhere. Something subtle waits beyond this idea, asking for patience, because the truth about distance and closeness is even stranger than it sounds to you. Chapter 2. Now, let's go a little deeper. Imagine standing in a quiet room. You reach toward a cup. You feel it. You think you are meeting it. But what is really happening is far stranger than that simple story. Your hand moves through empty space. Forces begin to act long before your skin touches anything. The closer you get, the stronger the push becomes. The cup seems solid because of this invisible resistance. Your nerves interpret it as touch. But it is not a meeting. It is a translation. Your body and brain are reading a code written in forces, not matter. Think about this. What if your hand were twice as small, or twice as large? The forces would behave the same, but the experience might change. Size, shape, and speed alter the way you feel resistance, but they don't change the fact that true contact never occurs. Every object you sense is separated from you by this invisible space. You live perpetually, just outside everything else, yet you feel intimately connected. That's the quiet miracle your mind keeps hidden. Consider a simple analogy. Imagine standing above a calm pond. You lower a stick slowly. The water pushes back gently, forming a small ripple. You never truly enter the water at first. The ripple is a message. The pond resists. You feel that message through the stick. Touch works in a similar way. Your body is like that stick, translating invisible messages into something your brain can understand. You never meet the pond. You only interpret its signals. Here is where it becomes more intriguing. These forces are not just on tables and walls. They're everywhere. Air, water, even the floor beneath your feet. Each particle pushes on its neighbor. Each force transmitted silently, gently, constantly. You exist in a sea of tiny interactions. The world is a network of signals, and your body is a receiver. Your life is a conversation with space itself. Think about magnets again. Two magnets repel. They never touch. Yet when you bring them closer, the energy between them grows. You feel it through your hand. That feeling is not the magnet. It is a message from the field surrounding the magnet. The world operates the same way. Each object has its invisible signature, and your body interprets it as solidity, texture, warmth, or cold. What we call touch is really your perception of these invisible dialogues. Now imagine walking through a room filled with delicate objects, a table, a glass, a vase. You think you are meeting them directly as you move. But in truth, each step is guided by these silent interactions. Your shoes feel the floor. The floor feels the shoes. Air resists your skin. Tiny forces gently steer your balance. You never meet the table. You never meet the floor. Yet you navigate the space perfectly, trusting what your senses translate from the invisible world. Here is a thought experiment. Close your eyes. Reach for a small object in front of you. Do not move your hand yet. Picture the forces acting on your fingers. Tiny pushes from electrons in your hand, tiny pushes from electrons in the object. Imagine these forces growing as your hand approaches. This is the truth of touch, a constant negotiation between your body and the world. The meeting you feel is an illusion created by countless silent forces acting in harmony. Now consider surfaces. Why does a chair hold you up? Why does a pen not pass through a desk? Not because of solidity, but because of a field of repulsion at a microscopic level. Your skin never merges with the chair. Your hand never merges with the pen. Every object resists intrusion before it begins. The apparent solidity is a side effect of these invisible interactions. Your life, all of it, is buffered by gentle but persistent boundaries. Even warmth and cold are part of the story. Your hand does not touch heat. It reads energy moving through atoms. Your skin interprets that motion and tells your brain, "This is hot." You think you are meeting the cup, but you are actually sensing energy being exchanged. Temperature, texture, hardness, all of these are translations of forces, not properties being directly passed from the object to your body. Now think about closeness in relationships, in everyday life. You hug a friend. You hold their hand. You feel intimate. Yet at the smallest scale, the atoms of your hand never meet the atoms of theirs. There is always a gap. Yet that gap is filled with forces. Electromagnetic repulsion, pressure, warmth. What feels like contact is actually an invisible dance. Your connection exists because of this subtle interaction, not because of physical merging. This perspective reshapes everything. Your perception of the world is not a direct record of reality. It is a careful interpretation of signals. Reality is not something you touch. It is something you translate. The sensation of contact, the feeling of solidity, the warmth, the cold, the smoothness, the resistance. They are all messages. Your life unfolds in this quiet conversation. So next time you pick up a cup, press your hand against a wall, or hug someone, pause. Think about the invisible gap, the silent push, the conversation happening at the tiniest scale. You are never truly meeting anything, and yet the world feels complete. The strange miracle is that in this invisible space, in these silent signals, you navigate, live, and connect. You never touch anything, and yet everything responds. And finally, imagine seeing the world this way all the time. Objects are not solid. Surfaces are not barriers. Hands never meet walls, cups, or even other hands. Instead, everything is alive with signals. The invisible becomes meaningful. Distance becomes connection. Resistance becomes conversation. Your entire life is threaded through these unseen forces, and suddenly the world feels deeper, quieter, infinitely more alive. You see reality differently now. The ordinary act of touch is no longer simple. It is a story of invisible pushes and signals. Your life is a dialogue with the universe. Each object is a partner. Each surface is a message. You are never alone, but you are never truly touching. And in that gentle paradox, the wonder of the world quietly unfolds.